Why Luke Broderick's proposal to Kristen didn't include Brittany. The Valley's Luke Broderick just shed some light on why he kept Brittany Cartwright in the dark about his top-secret Hawaiian proposal for Kristen Doubt. And yes, Jax Taylor was involved. On the Valley After Show for Season 2, Episode 12, Luke began his explanation by insisting that he loves Brittany. However, she definitely still has a big soft spot for Jax, and he can get stuff out of her without her even realizing what she's doing, he said, naming Danny Bucco and Nia Sanchez Bucco, who were on the fishing boat during the perfectly timed sunset proposal, as the only couple in the group that he believes can keep a secret. As Kristen separately added, one extra person could have ruined everything. Even so, the new mom could certainly see why Brittany would be upset that she wasn't included in her best friend's major milestone. If the roles were reversed, I would have felt the same way. I would have been like, wait, I want to be involved, but I totally understand why Luke didn't. Brittany Cartwright reacts to being left out of Luke Broderick and Kristen Doubt's engagement. Elsewhere on the after show, Brittany confirmed that Luke told her she was excluded because of Jax, though she didn't fully understand his reasoning. I was like, but I divorced him, she said. Insisting that she was still so happy for them, Brittany continued, I was just salty that I wasn't involved. But like Zach Wickham was, Nia was, Danny was. And I was just kind of like, but I'm her best friend. I would have loved to have been able to help. Those comments echo what Brittany said during the Valley's July 1 episode, during which she also struggled to understand why Luke didn't include her in his proposal plans. I cannot help but feel a little bit left out, she admitted on episode 12. Kristen is one of my very best friends. She's literally a sister to me, and I would have loved to have been there and been in that moment. And I feel like all these other people knew about it but me. It just doesn't really make sense to me. Back on the after show, Brittany chalked her selfish reaction up to several factors, including that she was already pissed off because she actually wanted to go fishing, along with her drinking all day amid processing her then-fresh divorce filing. Plus, planning theme parties is kind of her thing after all. Not that Zach didn't do great, not that everything wasn't great, it's just I was a little off, Brittany elaborated. I'm embarrassed by myself of how weird of a space I was in. I was not myself. Zach Wickham shares more intel on Luke Broderick, excluding Brittany Cartwright from the proposal. Zach, who was one of the few members in on Luke's plan, and also coordinated the post-engagement celebrations, added on the Valley after show that the one thing Luke wanted was for Kristen actually to be surprised by his proposal. He reiterated 1,000 times, do not tell anybody. If you tell Brittany, I'm gonna be so mad at you, he recalled. He didn't want anybody to know. He thought that was what was best. It's not my engagement. I have to respect his wishes. Acknowledging that Brittany, indeed, was super salty when she found out, Zach revealed that she later apologized for apparently telling him that she could have decorated the hotel's presidential suite so much better than he and boyfriend Benji Quach did. She just missed out, he concluded. And I'm I just schlepped decorations across the F-kin Pacific for this. And did it all by myself with Benji's help. The Hawaiian sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery oranges and soft purples. On the deck of a sleek fishing boat, the air crackled with a different kind of electricity. Luke Broderick knelt, a ring box glinting in his hand, and Kristen Doubt's gasp was swallowed by the gentle lapping of waves against the hull. It was a moment of perfect, unadulterated joy, a secret kept so closely that only the ocean breeze seemed privy to its planning. But back on the mainland, a different kind of storm was brewing. Brittany Cartwright, Kristen's best friend, was reeling. The news, when it finally broke, hit her like a rogue wave. Not only had Kristen gotten engaged, but Brittany, the self-proclaimed queen of party planning and emotional support, had been completely left out of the loop. The idea for the proposal had blossomed in Luke's mind months before. He pictured Hawaii, a breathtaking sunset, and Kristen's face, truly surprised. The surprise element was paramount. He knew Kristen, knew her circle, and knew the delicate dance of whispers and shared secrets that often accompanied their lives. He needed airtight security. His first thought, of course, went to Kristen's closest confidant, Brittany, but almost immediately a red flag went up. He loved Brittany truly. She had a heart as big as Kentucky and a loyalty that ran deep. But she also had a soft spot, a gaping emotional vulnerability, where Jax Taylor was concerned. Even now, after their messy, public divorce, Luke could see the lingering tendrils of Jax's influence. He imagined Jax, with his easy charm and calculated casualness, extracting information from Brittany without her even realizing it. A seemingly innocent "what's everyone up to for Kristen's birthday" could quickly morph into an accidental leak about a tropical getaway and a carefully hidden ring. He ran through the mental Rolodex of Kristen's friends. Danny Bucco and Nia Sanchez Bucco stood out. They were a rock, solid and dependable. They understood the concept of a secret. They were chosen for the inner circle, the select few who would witness the magic. Zach Wickham, a master of logistics and discretion, was another clear choice. Zach could be trusted with the details, with the decorations, with the intricate dance of keeping Kristen distracted and blissfully unaware. One extra person could have ruined everything, Kristen would later reflect, echoing Luke's exact fear. She knew her best friend, knew Brittany's heart was in the right place, but also knew her propensity for emotional oversharing, especially when under the subtle sway of certain individuals. Brittany, sipping a strong cocktail on a sweltering July day in Los Angeles, felt a surge of indignation when the news reached her. Her phone buzzed with excited texts, pictures of the sunset, of Kristen's tear-streaked face, of Luke beaming. And then the questions from others. Did you know? Were you involved in the planning? Her answer was a curt no. Later, confronting Luke, she heard the words that stung, because of Jax. But I divorced him, she protested, the words feeling hollow even to her own ears. The legal papers might have been signed, but the emotional ties, the shared history, the lingering vulnerability were still very much present. Brittany couldn't deny her hurt. I was just salty that I wasn't involved, she admitted, her voice a mix of genuine happiness for her friend and raw disappointment for herself. But like Zach was, Nia was, Danny was. And I was just kind of like, but I'm her best friend. I would have loved to have been able to help. It wasn't just the exclusion, it was the timing. Her divorce filing was fresh, raw, and still aching. She was already pissed off that day, nursing a desire to go fishing herself, perhaps a subconscious yearning for escape and distraction. And yes, she'd been drinking all day, a coping mechanism that sometimes blurred the lines of her usual sunny disposition. Not that Zach didn't do great, she grudgingly conceded, knowing Zach had pulled off a beautiful post-engagement celebration. Not that everything wasn't great, it's just I was a little off. I'm embarrassed by myself of how weird of a space I was in. I was not myself. It was a moment of rare self-awareness, a recognition that her reaction, while deeply felt, might have been amplified by her own personal turmoil. Zach Wickham, who had indeed schlepped decorations across the F-kin Pacific, understood Luke's reasoning perfectly. Luke's single, unwavering directive had been simple. Kristen had to be surprised. He reiterated 1,000 times, do not tell anybody. If you tell Brittany, I'm gonna be so mad at you. Zach recalled, a slight shiver running down his spine at the memory of Luke's serious tone. He didn't want anybody to know. He thought that was what was best. It's not my engagement. I have to respect his wishes. Zach had been privy to the raw emotion of the planning, the sheer effort that went into keeping such a monumental secret. He'd helped transform the hotel's presidential suite into a celebratory haven, working with his boyfriend, Benji Quach, late into the night. So when Brittany had sniped that she could have decorated it so much better, Zach had felt a pang of annoyance. She just missed out, he concluded, a hint of weariness in his voice. And I'm like, I just schlepped decorations across the F-kin Pacific for this, and did it all by myself with Benji's help. In the end, Luke's decision, though painful for Brittany, had achieved its ultimate goal. Kristen's surprise was absolute, her joy unmarred. The perfect sunset proposal had unfolded exactly as planned, a private, intimate moment shared with only a trusted few. Brittany, despite her initial hurt, would eventually understand. The bonds of friendship were strong, but sometimes, for a moment to truly shine, some things needed to remain exquisitely, beautifully secret. Brittany Cartwright's initial feelings of exclusion and unease as Kristen Doubt and Luke Broderick were in Hawaii with other friends, leading up to the proposal. Brittany, still processing her recent divorce, felt a preemptive FOMO and a persistent sense that something significant,